Alright guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to talk about public goods. So we're going to look at the problems associated with providing public goods, kind of touched on in the previous video, as well as this time some potential solutions. So the major problem, now I have a vocab term for it, described it in the last video, but there is something known as the free rider problem. This is where individuals have no incentive to pay for their own consumption and instead will take a free ride on anyone who does pay. Just like this guy in the basket in the front of the bicycle, there's a seat and there are some pedals for him that he could be sitting on, but he for some reason is able to be a free rider, so he's going to enjoy it, not have to work for it, and he'll still get to where he wants to go. Free rider problem happens with public goods because they are non-rival in consumption and they are also non-excludable. So you can't stop somebody from enjoying the benefit even if they don't pay. And their ability to enjoy the good doesn't diminish your ability to enjoy it either. So this is going to cause or create a free rider problem where essentially nobody has the incentive to pay for it and they all want a free ride. But then if that happens, then that good is going to suffer from inefficiently low production. Not enough of it is going to be consumed. So this is a problem with non-excludable goods. And this is half of what a public good is. It is non-excludable. So it's going to be produced in a smaller quantity than is optimal. If that wasn't enough, there's another problem. It's also non-rival in consumption, and this is going to suffer from inefficiently low consumption. So in this case, this is where you kind of get to that free rider part, where because even if I didn't pay for those streetlights or I didn't pay for that lighthouse, you can't stop me from enjoying the benefits of that, of having well-lit streets when I drive, or if I'm have a boat, I can still navigate using that lighthouse, right? So these are going to have inefficiently low consumption. So the first one, with the non-excludable, they will have inefficiently low production. So with public goods, they have the worst of both of these. Some examples. Hey, I knew I had a picture of Canadian military stuff. That's what I was thinking of for that last one. Sorry. So here's the Canadian guy. There you go. Some examples of public goods. In addition to national defense, again, the classic one, disease prevention, and scientific research. This is where things that everybody benefits from, all three of these. But because we all benefit from them, we all kind of want to take free rides on them, and so they don't get produced in a sufficiently large enough quantity. So what can we do? Who can provide public goods? Well, this is often seen as being one of the fundamental roles of government is to provide for public goods. So things like a military, things like common defense. So most people agree that something like that should be provided by government. It could also be by voluntary contributions. Self-interested individuals or firms, they could also decide to do it because they think it's in their best interest to. Excuse me. And social encouragement or social pressure could also be used to cause people to not free ride and to chip in and to make sure that we are able to produce and consume the optimal quantity of a public good. But typically we're going to see the first two are going to be the ones most commonly used, governments and voluntary contributions. If you think about fireworks shows on 4th of July, they are often done by city and local governments. So like City of Pembroke Pines will often hold a fireworks show because everybody in Pembroke Pines can get the benefit of watching those fireworks. So they take taxpayer dollars, where all of our taxpayer dollars in Pembroke Pines, some of them, not all of them, but some of them go to pay for that fireworks show. So it gets provided in that type of way because no private company would have an incentive to pay for it and to do it themselves because nobody would pay them for the right to see those fireworks. So it ends up being provided often by governments. All right, so with public goods, we're going to get back to the idea of marginal social benefit and marginal private benefit compared to marginal social cost. So for public goods, the marginal social benefit, remember that's for all of society, when we say social, of a unit of the good is equal to the sum of the marginal private benefits enjoyed by all consumers of that unit. So this is where we try to measure, well, what is your marginal private benefit from that fireworks show? And then what's mine? And what's person number 3 and person number 4? And we add up everybody's marginal private benefit And we add those all up together, and that will give us our marginal social benefit curve, which is essentially our demand curve here. The marginal social benefit of a good is equal to the sum of each consumer's willingness to pay. Because remember, if we are benefiting, so if my marginal private benefit is, let's say, $10 is the dollar amount I'd put on, I benefit $10 worth of enjoyment from watching those fireworks, that represents my willingness to pay. I'd be willing to pay up to $10 to watch that fireworks show. I would not pay $10.01. I would definitely pay $9.99. At $10, I'd be indifferent. I'd be equally well off either way. So we add all of those willingness to pay up, or all those marginal private benefits, and that will equal our marginal social benefit, which can give us essentially a price that represents the total value that society places on that. So the marginal social benefit of that particular good. So what do we want to do? Well, we would want to increase the quantity that's being produced of this good up to the point where the marginal social benefit of an additional unit equals the marginal social cost. And that's where we would want to stop producing, because we know that we don't want the benefit to exceed the cost, or I'm sorry, we don't want the cost to exceed the benefit. But as long as the benefit is less, as long as the benefit is greater than or equal to the marginal social cost, we want to keep producing additional units until they become equal. This has been a LaMoney Production.